Fresh off of Anthony Edwards saying he thinks Michael Jordan was the only skilled player back then, KG comes out and says he doesn't think any player in the league today could play 20 years ago. And he clarified, he said he talking to everybody who's in the league. Nobody could have played back then, right? And his reasoning for that was, one, you can't do triple step backs. You couldn't do that back then. You really had to get to your spots and fight through that physicality. A lot of the shots people take today, man, if you took those shots back then, you would be subbed out. You would not be playing. Pulling up for 3 on a fast break was not allowed back then. And that seems like that's one of the most simple shots in basketball today. That was not the game back then unless you were really one of them. You know what I'm saying? Now the game's more spaced out. You can't touch. According to KG, the physicality was way too much. The locker rooms back then were full of grown men. And the NBA today is a lot of young people. I get what he's trying to say. He pretty much sums everything up to, if it wasn't for freedom of movement, taking away the hand check, taking away all of that extra physicality, the people who are in the league today, they wouldn't make it. They wouldn't be here. At this point, I feel like this conversation is just people getting their feelings hurt, and someone comes out and says something that seems disrespectful. Well, it is disrespectful to say that nobody back then had skill, because everybody in the NBA were skilled. These were the most skilled players in the world. But, you know, the way the youth sees it is y'all couldn't do certain moves. So, like, y'all couldn't even, y'all footwork was different. The way we dribble is different. The way everybody today is shooting threes is different. I don't agree with either end of the spectrum. Obviously, players back then were skilled. People today could play back then. No disrespect to somebody like Steve Kerr. If he can handle it, I'm sure Anthony Edwards would be okay. Is there a middle ground to this? Is one side right? Is the other side wrong? I feel like this debate is almost pointless because, again, we're talking about the NBA, which has always been the most skilled league in the entire world. The skill was different. Young dudes don't respect it because they've never seen it. Old dudes they don't like this style of game because it's different. You know what I'm saying? But the one thing I will give credit on is that I feel like the IQ just had to be a little bit higher back then. Now there are some people with a lot of skill and zero IQ. Absolutely zero IQ. And that's at all levels. That's from children to NBA players. They're just taught the skill. They're not taught the game, right? So that is one big difference that I know, because back then the game was much more simple. It's easier to digest and learn how to play basketball, 5-on-5 basketball, not 1-on-1 basketball, 5-on-5 basketball, when everything is more simple. KG, I don't know what you got going on, but hey, my brother.